We'll be back in just a few minutes.
Well, I know we talk about some things. Obviously, coming up the weekend, we talked Saturday. Really disappointed in not being able to get what would have been a huge win for our program, and would have been a second straight win in American Athletic Conference play. So disappointed that not be able to close that one out. Navy, that's a program that's won at a high level for many years, and certainly they know they have great experience late in those games like that, and that showed. So the kids come out of it. I think a combination of disappointed not getting the win, but also still confident in their progress and seeing themselves playing better and better each week, which is only going to help us moving forward, and very motivated, going into this week. We all wish we had a game this week. It's sometimes you say, we really needed that bye week. This is one of those weeks where we all wish we were playing just because of the momentum you have right now, and just keeping that rolling. But I do think there's some benefits to having the bye right now, going into the game against Tulsa next week, and hopefully we're able to use those those benefits and make the most of this opportunity.
Okay, we'll open up the questions for Coach Houston.
Coach, when you kind of look at this season, you're almost really at the halfway point. What have you been most pleased with? What do you want to see your team improve on the most in the second half?
I think most pleased with, I think, is just positive growth. And I say that there's so many levels where you talk about that. It's you have so many new players to the program. You have so many freshmen. And then, you combine those guys with the returners that we have, and, you didn't have the spring and summer. And so you had a lot of just, gelling, all these individuals together, and then getting them schematically on the same page and gelling them as an offense, a defense, a special teams units, and as a program. So I think just positive growth in all areas, whether it be on the field, off the field individually, physically, off the field collectively, as far as culture goes, locker room dynamics. I think just positive growth is what we've seen a lot of, and that positive growth has been reflected in our play and our confidence on the field. So I think that's the thing I'm most pleased with. The things that I want to see us do, in the second half of the season. I think the most obvious is I want to see us win those games, like that game this past Saturday, like the Cincinnati and SMU game last year. I want to see us continue to compete at a high level and learn how to close out those games against quality opponents. There's a lot that goes into that. There's a lot of individual things, whether it's, within specific position groups or position or specific units, where you want to also see some things improve. And we spent a lot of time in the last 2 days as a staff talking about those things. But, the big thing is just, getting over that hump, which we feel like we're right there.
Can you talk about the progress of both your offense and defensive lines? That was a point of emphasis coming into this season. They both seem to be improving at the moment.
Right. I think, obviously D-line was a huge need and a huge priority in the off season in recruiting. And really just, you guys have seen a handful of those guys on the field playing right now. There's another 4 or 5 that aren't playing right now that I am really, really excited about as well. So I think just, that group right there, and then the job that Roy Tesh and Byron Thweet are doing with them, really excited about that and their progress. And I think that, it's a group that's, it's going to be here for a long time. So it's, that's really going to solidify us defensively up front for the foreseeable future. And a lot of competition, a lot of depth, a lot of ability. So, really excited about that group. Can't wait to work with them, today. Can't wait to work with them for, the next couple of years. So, offensive line wise, I think, given some of the challenges we had with some injuries, early in preseason camp and guys just not available. It's challenged us. And I think that was, some of the issues that you saw at Georgia State. But I really am excited about, that group, the way they've kind of meshed over the last 3 weeks. You've had the same starting lineup for the last 3 games for the most part, and the same guys rotating in and out. And I think, really excited about the way that group has responded week in and week out and improved drastically. I think that shows a lot of dedication on their part. I think it's a great job of Coach Shankweiler, bringing that group along. I think you see the young guys like Nashad Strother, Avery Jones, just really Trent Holler, really, you see their development coming along. You see the strong leadership from a Fernando Fry, the determination to play at a high level from Sean Bailey, Bailey Malovic, his energy and enthusiasm. I just think there's so many positive things right there in that group that's happening right now that's, causing them to, be able to play better and better each week.
Coach, what do you make of the testing process and protocols Nick Saban was able to go through versus what your players were able to go through last week?
I think each conference kind of has spent a lot of time developing their protocols. I know that this has been something that the physicians and administrators in the American Athletic Conference spent a great amount of time during the off season coming up with testing procedures, protocols, contact tracing procedures, all those things that we go through each week. We tested yesterday. We're testing again tomorrow. It's part of our daily life right now. I think that, those protocols are giving us the opportunity to play. Have there been some frustrating things as a result of the testing and protocols? Absolutely. But those are things that I can't control. There's some things in there that nobody can control. And I think that you have to respect the protocols. You have to respect the people in those positions, that they are doing what's best for your players and your staff to keep everybody as safe as possible while playing this game.
So where does that leave update-wise for those players that were not able to play this past weekend?
So we have 1 active positive in the program right now, and then a handful of players that are out as a result of contact tracing. We do expect all of those players to be back with us this weekend. So, within a day or 2 of each other. So as we go into next week, that group will be rejoining us as long as there's no setbacks as far as testing goes.
Hey, Coach, when you look at Rajay Harris, and he's emerged obviously these last 2 weeks in a big way, but I'm wondering, when you were recruiting him, how quickly could you see or could you tell that he brings that kind of physical style and what you want to do long-term, with your whole approach to this program? How good of a fit is he for you long-term, you think?
Well, I think that, Burns High School, I've recruited ever since I was the coach at Lenore-Rhine. So I know that program very, very well. And I've had a lot of really high-end players from that program at every stop I've been at. We started recruiting Raji when I was at James Madison. And, that continued on when we got here at ECU. And, I thought he was very talented when he was young. He was one of the top recruits in our class last year. But really, his senior film, as we watched him develop his senior year, you were hoping you were going to hold on to him. He was committed to us. This time last year, a group of our coaches all went down to see him play Gaffney High School in a regular season game, and I was not permitted to go, but just that film from that performance was one of the most dominating performances by a high school running back that I've seen. And that was probably the night that you knew, hey, this kid is different. He's not just a good player, he's got a chance. And then, you get him here last spring and just, you get to know him more in depth as a person. And you see his character on a daily basis, the way he carries himself, the way he interacts with his teammates, how coachable he is. And you see his competitive drive to be great. And I think that's a credit to his father and his family and the way he was raised and his high school coaches and the way he was coached. But I said it Saturday. I think he's special. I think he's he's a guy along with, the other guys we have in that room. Keaton Mitchell's the same, in the same class. I think that room is, in a really good place for the long term with our older players and the two young backs.
Coach, going off that with the running backs, Chase Hayden, we didn't see him last game. Can you update us on his status?
Chase came to me the Monday after the South Florida game and informed me that he was opting out for the 2020 season. So he is not with us right now.
And then presumably with Holton out, the start of this week, how important will it be for Mason to, look at that film, learn everything, and maybe take some more number one reps and really continue to grow that way?
I think it's critical. It's different. Mason's been sitting in those meeting rooms. He and Alex and Ryan have been sitting in those meeting rooms watching Holton go out there and play and do some great things and make some mistakes. And you say, learn from somebody else's errors, but it's not until you're the one out there on the field and now he sees himself, the last 2 days on film, he sees himself and what he's thinking in his mind versus what, happens on film, that's where you can really, have tremendous growth. He did not have the opportunity to have spring practice with us. He did not have the opportunity to be with us this summer. So it's been a little bit of an accelerated development of him, this fall to prepare him to go out there on the field. But, that's his first significant playing time at the college level. He did a ton of great things on Saturday, and I think he showed, all of us, some of his potential and why we signed him here. And he also, had some things that he obviously can do a lot better and will do better, in the future. So he's a young quarterback. We're fortunate to have Holton here, who is an experienced quarterback, and he's a guy that can, play at a high level, and he's a great guy for Mason and Ryan and Alex to be around and learn from for the next couple of years.
Coach, this is obviously a tough time. This is obviously a tough time for college athletic departments across the country, given John Gilbert's announcement yesterday. What do you make of everything going on right now?
It's it is what it is. It's not a whole lot of fun. It's not fun for anyone. But the one thing's, we all have to do our part. We're all in this together, and certainly, there are some people that you worry about because of, how significantly it may impact their, daily life and their livelihood. And we try to support those people and help them out because, we're all pirates. And, my staff, just speaking for them, and I don't just mean my full-time coaching staff. I mean, support staff, GAs, analysts, admins, all the people that work within the football program. There's a lot of them, just trying to ensure that, they are all, able to make it through this, that we can, keep the group together, because, everyone's important. But certainly this is a challenging time for our program, for our athletic department, for our university, and it's a challenging time for universities across the country. So everybody's got to kind of, tighten up, pitch in and find a way to help everybody else through.
Coach, can you talk about the way Chad Stevens played on Saturday?
Yeah, I would say I'm pleased with how Chad performed on Saturday. It's, he's been a guy that's been in our program for a year now, has transitioned from an inside linebacker to that, outside linebacker rush position, has played a little bit, on defense in the first few ball games, a lot on special teams, has been getting a lot of reps in practice, but certainly saw his first start this past Saturday and his most significant playing time. I thought Chad played very hard. They played with great physicality. Played the way you want your players to play. Did he make some mistakes that you expect from a first-time starter? Yeah. Will he improve from that experience? Yes. I think he's very similar to Mason in that you got to go through that. You got to go through it and make those mistakes before you really have tremendous growth.
when you look at the defense as a whole, it looked like there wasn't a lot of missed assignments or, blown coverages, that type of thing. Some of it was just Navy just got yards, it was physical. I mean, was that a big step and improvement? And obviously if you compare that kind of to last year versus Navy, just guys doing the right thing and kind of being in the right spots.
There's no comparison to anything a year ago. I mean, it's night and day from a discipline, execution standpoint, toughness, physicality, playing hard. It's night and day. You had a couple of those fullback runs that maybe you had one mistake here or one mistake there, but there wasn't much. I thought that the kids did a great job with the game plan that the defensive staff put together. I thought that Blake did a good job calling the game, mixing up. He did a great job mixing up the read key that the quarterback had on any given play, depending if they were running midline, inside veer, or outside veer. He did a good job mixing up, who had quarterback, who had dive, and really messing with the quarterback's decision-making ability. And it resulted in some tackles for loss. It resulted in a turnover on the play by Rick DeBerry. And I think that execution at that level is what gave us a shot in that ball game. Love the way our kids played with physicality and energy, and that's the identity that we want to have on defense. So very pleased with the way that unit played.
Coach, you got a big game coming up next week. Chance for the whole country to kind of see you and see this ball club's progression, and it's got to be a great opportunity for you guys. Talk about the team's attitude coming into this week, how they felt coming out of the game last week, and what you hope to accomplish heading into next Friday.
Well, I said when we first got on here, wish we were playing them this week. Just to keep on playing week in and week out. We've already looked at Tulsa a good bit the last couple of days. They look like I thought they would coming into this year based on seeing them at the end of the year last year. I think they're as talented as anyone in the league. Obviously, they have tremendous size on both fronts and at the skill positions. They, for all intents and purposes, probably should have beaten Oklahoma State in the opener. Had some turnovers there in the red zone and didn't score a couple of times, and I think lost 16-7 or something like that. Stuck it on UCF the week after UCF beat us. So I think those two games tell you the level of play that they're capable of. They'll have South Florida this Friday night, so look forward to seeing that game. That'll be a good comparison for us also. But this week, we're focusing on a combination of, getting ready for Tulsa. We're going to spend a certain portion of practice each day repping, our stuff against Tulsa and what we expect. But we're also going to spend a lot of time, with just us, good on good. We're going to spend a lot of time with some of the young guys that maybe you have not seen yet, trying to bring them farther along. Is there anybody that's maybe ready to step in and play here in the second half of the season? Continue to get those young players that are playing some experience. Some guys have some bumps and bruises. We're going to try to take care of this week, make sure they're fresh going into next week. So I think this week is a great opportunity for us to, really, go into next week strong and well prepared, and look forward to playing next Friday night in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Coach, you get the national TV for that Tulsa game, but it's also 9 Eastern kickoff. What do you think of that kickoff time, and do you do anything preparation-wise with your players to lead up to such a late kick?
Well, I think, it's going to be a late one. I don't know if anybody – my wife she'll never make it till midnight to see the end of that game. So we'll have to make sure we tape that. She'll watch it the next morning. But, we're going to start preparation Saturday since it's a Friday game where we'll bump everything back a day. So, Saturday is Sunday, Sunday's Monday, that kind of deal. Probably bump meetings and dinner on Thursday and some of our travel plans on Thursday a little bit late compared to what we usually do. Maybe not quite get in bed as early on Thursday night, but make sure Wednesday night and Thursday night we get a significant amount of sleep. And that way, we're well rested on game day. And I think, handling a little bit later start on Friday morning for our team with a typical game day routine, and hopefully we'll mesh up well with a 9 o'clock kick.
Coach, you mentioned Rick DeBerry earlier. He was a guy y'all signed late in your first class. Can you just talk about his growth and he's really making some impact plays up front?
Rick's a kid that I recruited since he was probably a sophomore in high school and knew very, very well. He's a player that I recruited heavily when I took the job here. To get him here to East Carolina University, and I thought then, and I think now that he's got a chance to be a really high impact player on the field. He's got a chance to be a real strong culture guy in the locker room. He's one that I feel like I have a very strong personal relationship with him, and I think those always help. As you go through these early years of a player's development. But I think he's got a chance to be special, and he's going to continue to grow. He's not going to get any smaller. He is extremely explosive for a big kid, and he has twitch, which you saw that interiorly Saturday. Just his ability to impact the quarterback fullback run game so dynamically there in the interior of the defensive line. I think he's going to continue to improve.
Okay, are there any other questions for Coach Houston? Okay, Coach, thank you for your time.
Thanks a lot, guys. Have a good week. I'll see
Okay.
you going into next week.
Thanks, Coach.